You can have whatever you want to.
Welcome to the Sparkle Show with us. We got my two favorite men, my two favorite East Coast men, talking about a screw loose. Can you explain to us what a screw loose is?
Well, that takes on two meanings. You know, like a bolt and a screw loose, but also you could have a screw loose upstairs. I think, Andrew, why don't you kind of like fill them in, since you're the screwwriter?
A screw loose is, as Eddie and I have discussed and deliberated, is a story about the shenanigans that go on in old-time mafia. We're bringing the mafia from the old days to the new days. This is 2020 mafia. They're getting old, long in the tooth, and want to get out of the business. And something transpires that causes them to go back into the business that they tried to get out of. And this causes some, some comedy, some, even though it's based on reality to a certain extent, it causes a lot of comical effects in that things happen just by happenstance or are caused and have to happen because that's the life that they've led in the past. And so there's this dichotomy between where they were and where they are now, and they have to find a balance in trying to stay out of it and get back into it, but then go back into being out of it, if that makes any sense.
So is this going to be a comedy, action, drama?
It is a dark comedy, whereas things happen because arguments occur. You're talking about a group of people that have now retired from the mafia business, in quotes. And they're now brought back into it because one of their family, one of the crew has been knocked off. And now they have to have retribution for one of their family members, so to speak. And it just follows on this bumbling, mumbling, comedy of errors that exist in the mafia mindset. But it's more geared towards the retired pit, and they really don't want to have to do this, but they're kind of forced into it, which makes it that much more comical.
So Eddie, you co-wrote this. Where do you see this?
Well, I give him, what we do? We brainstorm on the phone or Skyping and on the phone, both ways. And I run by the comical stuff because that's my good, that's my area.
Eddie, you don't seem funny at all.
I don't seem funny? Well, not now, maybe. But, and I run these things by him, and a lot of the things, believe it or not, this is like a Jersey story. It's based on it's actually based on some real people that my dad grew up with and actually had these slang names that they used. Some were connected guys, Jersey guys,
So what's going on with the mafia now? You said you're going to bring it now. How relevant is the mafia in current times?
I don't know. I don't really think there's a mafia per se.
Well, Sparkle, I think the mafia has become so intricate and educated and underground that you can't really point a finger at it specifically, but it still exists, but it's such an undertone that you can't really put a finger on it.
The power isn't the same that
using
it used
the
to be back
comedy
in the
of
day,
putting
though, right?
a finger on something. exactly. I mean, but therein lies the comedy, is because mafia per se, or the business of the business, has become so undertone that you really can't put a finger on it, so to speak. And therein lies the comedy of the whole situation, because they don't want to be outwardly exposed anymore as an organization or a crew,
Right.
and therefore they become, less than, and want to retire, so to speak. And that's what really brings out the comedy in the whole situation, and building this around the Jersey
Element, so to speak.
element. It really makes it funny, because you've got the names, you've got the people, you've got the attitudes, you've got the circumstances, the situations that occur, and now you've got a couple of old people that have ostensibly retired, and are now arguing with each other, and things just happen, which makes it funny.
Right.
So what's your protagonist name? Eddie, we went over the typical East Coast boy names. What do we have for who's your protagonist?
Well, he wants a call, but still open to subject to change,
It's one of the names I said, huh? That's
what in our text earlier. Well, it is Eddie. I'm using my first name, and he wants to call me Fast Eddie. That's the name he's given me. But
Easy Eddie.
Easy Eddie. Well, yeah. Well, we're gonna make changes. I mean, nothing's set in stone just yet. So it's funny though. It's funny, like he said, we're in retirement. Really, we're guys that used to do these things to make money. These illegal things. Extortion and run numbers and all kinds of different things. And what we kind of left and retired from the business. We got set up in life by this one guy. I don't want to give the story away, but he gets killed. I can tell you that much. And that's what reunites us. We all get a call to go to his funeral. And we that's when we start talking about, amongst ourselves, like, how did so-and-so die? Can I say his name, Andrew?
Yeah, go ahead. You're not giving away the story.
Well,
mention some characters.
All right, well, how did Louis Legs die? And so we want to find out just who killed Louis Legs and why.
I forgot that name. That would have been in my name in that text. I knew I was missing one.
No, you didn't have a Louis.
I didn't. No, but now you said it, I forgot that one.
I don't know where the hell you got a Brian. That's usually Irish. And you had another name, Ryan. Ryan is definitely Irish, where I come from.
I know, but I'm saying those are our East Coast names, because this would tell viewers why. Because you said, how do I get the name Sparkle? And I said, well, on the East Coast, you guys look at they have like 10 names they recycle. It's like a Vinny and a Joey and an Eddie. I forgot Louis.
Right. Well, Vinny's good. Joey's common. Louis, Tony's a big one. Yeah, Tony's always, everybody's named Tony. My own son is Joey. I have about 4 cousins named Anthony. So, right. So yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. But I don't know where Edward fits in. I hate that name. That's why everybody refers to me as Eddie. But yeah, Fast Eddie. I don't know if we're keeping that, but we'll see, Andrew. But Joey Catalano, I'd like to give a shout out to him. He's another lead in it.
We have some other characters. Yeah. So you got Cat, we got Dozer, we got Mickey, we got we got some great some great characters that do pull away a little bit from the norm.
Right, the typical mob movie.
You're not tied into the atypical, styles of what you would normally, attach to. You got Fingers. You got some interesting characters there that all play a different and separate role in a film that really is a whodunit with a twist.
Well, this sounds great. I love mob movies, and I feel like, there's less and less of them right now. So I can't wait to see that. Everybody loves a good mob movie.
Well, they like a different mob movie, and this is different.
Because it's like the 2020 mob movie, and we don't have that yet.
No, exactly. This is during the pandemic. It's gonna, not that don't get me wrong, pandemic, not that I'm making fun of it or anything like that, and I'm taking it very seriously. That's why I'm in the house right now. But certain parts of the pandemic might lend itself to some scenes.
Right.
Maybe The Mask. I haven't figured out yet. There's some things that we do that were kind of comical during the pandemic. I hate to say that because it's a serious thing, but think about it. I mean, how many times I got 7 rooms in this house. We walk in different rooms just to get away from one another. I mean, who's brushing their teeth 6 times in the bathroom? And you do things that you just never thought you'd do. You find yourself doing. Luckily, I got music as an outlet. So I do that, as you know. And I go to the gym, like you. And that kind of keeps me busy. And then now we're really going to forge ahead with this script. I got a lot of people interested. More people are talking to me about it. And said, "What do you need, Eddie? Can I help?" And a lot of people really want to help because it's hard to get an indie film off the ground.
Do you have any former mob guys that are interested in these roles that you've talked to?
Actual mob guys? You mean starring in it or playing?
Yeah, for example, Ciro Tapaglia. Well, I know you're friends with him.
Who?
Ciro Tapaglia?
I don't. I may be friends with him, but I don't know him personally.
Okay. Well, because I know he's in your network, and that he.
What'd you do? Look at my friends list. What'd you do?
I've been stalking you, Eddie. So I didn't know if you had people like that, because that makes it even more juicy. I didn't know if you had any people with those kind of ties.
I don't know. Well, don't forget, it hasn't been fully cast yet.
Right.
We got a lot of work to do as far as there's a lot of character development going on. So we only know about the leads and the main characters that Andrew just mentioned. Mikey Muscle, no, not Mikey Muscles. What do we got? Nikki the Bull? Andrew? I don't think he can hear me.
Yes.
That Nikki the Bull, right? We got Nikki the Bull.
Yeah, Nikki the Bull. Yeah.
Well, can you mention any of the ones that are cast?
Well, we can mention the main characters that are in the synopsis because we already put the synopsis up. So we got, let's see, Nikki the Bull. I don't have the list in front of me. Real prepared, right? That's the story of my life.
You got Mickey. You got Mickey. Yeah, you got Mickey Michelina. You got Dozer. You got Cat.
Joey Cat.
You got you got Joey Cat. You got Fingers Donahue or Sullivan.
Sully.
Sully. Yeah. You got and then you got Sully. So you got some great characters. I mean,
so what's your experience before this movie? Were you guys writing other screenplays, directing, acting, producing? Tell us a little bit about your film backgrounds.
Well,
Eddie?
All right, you want me to go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, this is our first collaboration, me and Andrews, as far as and our first project together, and our collaboration with the screenplay.
Before that, though, what was your guys' personal backgrounds?
Well, who do you want to start with, me or him?
Either way.
Well, I started. Mine, I guess, stems from being a little piss-on extra in The Godfather.
Really?
In 1972, I was in the wedding scene. So
Nice.
that's where I kind of got the bug.
Oh, wow. I'm going to have to go back. I love The Godfather. I'll have to go back and watch it.
I could point me out, but I was only 16 years old. I didn't talk. It wasn't a speaking part. I wasn't even in the union then. Way past that. I mean, before I got in the union. But that was 1972, the original Godfather, Godfather 1. And that was filmed in Staten Island. So, it's funny how I got that part. A friend of my family's knew the assistant director. And she said to me, Eddie, if you cut your hair, I'll get you a part in The Godfather. Because I had real long hair. And I wasn't like all that into it. I was always like into the music. Yeah, well, I kind of liked all that stuff because I even did it in high school a little bit. No, actually in junior high. So, because that's what I would have been in, right, at 16 years old.
So you cut your hair.
I cut my hair to be an extra. In other words, I said, yeah, all right, I'll cut my hair. It was down to
I love that story.
Yeah, cut my hair because they said we can get you in The Godfather. But I'm 16 years old. To me, it was like,
Did you even think it was going to be a big deal?
No,
Did you know
like when I got on the set, my father took me in, and we're going to, I don't know, this Staten Island. I believe it was Wagner College or something like that. And I don't remember, so long ago, I don't remember exactly what, but I know it was Staten Island. And when we got there, there's this big mansion that you could like put your fist through because it was fake. The walls were all fake. But let me tell you, it was a great experience. And I did get to meet Talia Shire, James Caan, Richard Conte I took pictures with, Al Martino. The day I was working, Marlon Brando was not there.
Oh, that was going to be my first
He was
question.
sick. No, he was sick. He was sick. I would have loved to have met him. He was sick, actually 2 days, because I worked 2 days on it. And I wish I saved the check they paid me because it said The Godfather on it.
Oh.
They framed it. I cashed it. 16 years old, that was a lot of money.
Of course.
$300 or whatever. I made $150, $75 a day as an extra. I mean, that was like hitting a lottery at 16.
Right.
So I said to my mom, no, I want to cash this check. My father was saying, no, Frick, put it in the frame. It's going to be big one day.
Your dad knew.
Yeah. Big yellow check, and it said The Godfather on it. And I cashed it. What am I going to do? So now I don't have that keepsake.
You could have sold it, I bet, for more than it was worth.
Yeah, I probably could have took it to, what's that show?
Pawn Stars?
Yeah, Pawn Stars. Oh, he would have chewed me down, though. He would have chewed me down. But you never know. People like that kind of stuff, that memorabilia. I mean, it's like, but I didn't save the check. It's dumb. And
okay, so after The Godfather, what happened?
All right, so after The Godfather, I started I liked it. That was like, kind of put the bug in me. I said, wow, this is fun, man. I remember even being on the set and like all they had draping us from the girls, and I was young. So it's not like I was like a sex maniac or anything, but all they had draping us or a pervert or anything, but they had like a garbage bag, like them green garbage bags. Was that material, plastic? And I was peeking through and I didn't know. And on the other side, there was women getting dressed. And I thought that was kind of funny because, the way they had it set up. But to make a long story short about that, it's like that's probably where I got the bug. And then I did some modeling after that. You know, I was handsome at one time, maybe, but then I went to college. I went to William Patterson College, and then I decided I don't want to stay in New Jersey anymore. And I had a friend that lived in Vegas, was a dealer. He moved from Jersey out to Vegas. And he said, why don't you come out here? So I applied to UNLV, got accepted. And I said, yeah, I got to get out of Jersey. I got to get away from these guys drinking, hanging in the bars, and just hanging on the corner, all that stuff. Because that's what we did. That's what we did, the Jersey guys. You know, we hung out. And too much. And I went to Vegas. And I studied music and film production at UNLV.
Wow, that's really cool.
And then I joined Nevada Motion Pictures. And I worked on that series Vegas. I don't know if you remember that show.
Yeah.
With Dan Tana, with Robert Urich. He passed away. I like that guy. He was a great actor. But I used to work that show as an extra. And then after that, that was like 1980 to 83. Then my father calls me on the phone. And he says, Eddie, you got to go watch my friend, his very close friend, in a movie. And I said, well, what movie is that? Yeah, what do you want me to go watch? And he says, I want you to go to the movies and I want you to go and watch Raging Bull, because my friend Joe Pesci's in it. So when I went, I saw it. I mean, I was blown away. You know, I mean, this is my father's close friend. Look at him, you know, and that was like really what set him off, you know. I mean, he did something called The Debt Collector before that, where they discovered him. And like, I don't know, it just, after that, it just was like a snowball effect, a domino effect. It's like, all right, now my dad knows Joe and the late Frankie Vincent. He played drums with my father because Frankie also was a drummer that was in The Sopranos, and Frankie Valli. So my father knew all these guys, you know, and used to sing with the Four Lovers before they became the Four Seasons. So I had that I was around that environment. So I figured, let me just go for it. So I would, you know, dabble in and out of it. You know, I do the music, then I'd go back to the acting.
Are you going to do music for this film?
I might do some original stuff for the film, and then my kid might do hip hop for it. He's good with dance and hip hop. Nice. He's real good. Yeah. I'd like to do some original stuff, and I'd like to use some of some stuff that I like that's out there from other artists, especially the one guy I just mentioned, because I grew up with them. So, but I'm gonna call and ask and get permission, make sure I can, you know, get permission to do it, and I'm sure he'll allow me to do it.
Andrew, what about you? How did you fall into all of this?
Well, I met Eddie when he was going through a difficult time with some former colleagues that did not treat him right. And I had just been through a similar situation myself. And so I reached out to him and I said, if you need my help, I'll be happy to oblige and help you, you know, at least get, if nothing else, get the script done so that you have something viable to move forward with, and we can, you know, and then at that point you can decide where you want to go and what you want to do. And that's kind of how we connected. Me, myself, I've been in the union 31 years. I've been in the business my entire life. I started at 3-4 years old in theater, and in theater until the late 90s. Got into film and television and got my union card. Last, you know, I've done a lot of writing, some direct and some producing, and
You guys
I've
are
been an
really
actor
vets in
for a
this
very,
field.
very long
We're
time.
going over decades of experience
And
here.
I've been,
Yeah, but we're not
yeah,
famous.
I was a member of the, I'm still a member of the union, and I was at one point I was a member of IATSE, so I worked behind the camera as well. So I learned a lot of the technical aspects of how things worked on the other side of the camera instead of in front of the camera, and that gave me a good perspective of how to write as a writer, because I understood the technicalities involved with equipment, with personnel, and so I would write specifically budget-minded ways that I knew, you know, if you wrote a specific way, you know you were running your budget up. So I was very budget-minded in that respect. And for the last 6 years, I've worked, you know, pretty much exclusively on my own project, which is called a Gift of the Heart. And if people want to look that up, it's called Gift of the Heart. They can go to giftoftheheart.com. I have the book out. Here's a copy of it. And I wrote the
Nice.
screenplay. It's won awards. It's been nominated, gone to the finals many times, and we're hoping to make that film one day. But the main purpose of the film, A Gift of the Heart, is to give 100% of its net profits to families in need, kids fighting cancer, and things like that. So
I
that has
love
been
that.
my focus, is to really have a purpose and a mission to do something constructive with my talent and my expertise to help help the community as a whole.
So when are you trying to launch that project?
But they can go here. They can buy the book at giftoftheheart.com. They can support the project. And the moment we have the rest of the budget together, we can shoot the film and get it out globally. That's been a six-year
And the proceeds go to
project
cancer,
as of this
to
point.
go to
It's
kids
been
with cancer.
6 years. Yeah, I started 6 years ago with this. So I'm not going to give up. I mean, you know, you just got to keep going. It's just hitting the right person in the right place at the right time, and bingo.
What a great match, the two of you. You guys have like just a lot of experience. You guys have multiple projects. And just to recap a little bit about the stuff that you said was going on, it was you guys were involved in different production companies that went separate ways. Is that what happened?
Well, I've done my own thing my whole life, and I just happened to meet Eddie over this particular project, and I offered my help, and he reached out and he said, "Would you help me? Would you come on board and we can co-write this together?" And I said, "Sure, I'll be happy. I'll be happy to do that."
That's what he did.
You know, I do my own stuff, but I talked a lot with Eddie, and I was like, okay, well, let's hash this out together, and you can decide where you want to go from there, but let's at least put a product in your hand so that he can move forward.
Well, I love that. And I definitely want to spread the word out about that project. I don't know if Eddie had told you, but I was involved in it. I try to help kids with cancer. That's one of my causes that I work with. So I really hope that project gets up and running. But we got to get that going. We got to get the mobsters going. What's the budget going on, the budget for this project?
For which one? For Screw Loose or a Gift of the Heart?
For the Screw Loose.
Screw Loose, we haven't really tied that down yet because we're still in the process of writing the script. Once we have the script written out, we'll have a basic overview of what we think we're going to need financially and where we can go and get help, assistance, and then tagging colleges and film schools to get their assistance, their personnel, their equipment, etc. And then it can be honed down to a more specific amount that'll be needed. But just on the way I believe Eddie wants it to go, and my perspective of what I believe he wants, you're probably looking at somewhere between 150 to 250,000 to shoot screw loose, somewhere in that ballpark.
Give or take a little.
Yeah.
Well, I can't wait to see how this project unfolds. When are you looking to shoot? Are you looking towards 2021?
Spring.
Spring. So yeah, 20, okay, perfect.
I'm hoping with the COVID and all, who knows? You know, I mean, you know, it might get delayed a little, but we got a boat involved. That's another thing I didn't tell you. Screw Loose, it doesn't revolve around the boat, but the whole reason I got the idea for the name was, see this shirt? See it? Well, my sister-in-law's boyfriend has a beautiful boat. It's called the Grady White. People know about boats. They know what that is. It's a 6-figure boat, and it's only 26 feet long, and it's beautiful. And guess what the name of it is?
Screw Loose.
Right. I've been wearing these shirts for 3 years. Who would have thought that I'd want to do a movie called Screw Loose? I mean, the name was in front of me for 3 years. And I just loved it. I think the name is great.
I do too. I actually
really
think
do.
it's brilliant.
Nobody's done it. Well, if you go to IMDb, there was a Screw Loose, but I think Mel Brooks did it. I don't think it was a big hit, and it's kind of a little different than what we're doing. And the only other loose that I know is Footloose, right? That other one. So I just said, I like this. I think the way we're going to do it and the surprises that we're going to put into this thing, especially when we take people out on boat rides, because there's going to be a little of that. Of course, you know what we're going to do when we go on boat rides. We're not going fishing. Maybe the wives think so, but we're not going fishing. But that's where the boat comes in. This is not like Andrew had said to me. We're not going to focus the movie's not going to be focused around the boat just because it's happens to be called Screw Loose. It's going to be more focused on, well, that's like serves two purposes, that name, because like I said, it's going to be focused on the boat's only a portion of, well, only in some scenes. And, but the main reason I like the title of Screw Loose is because most of the people in this film do have a screw loose. And people you know in life. Who doesn't? Who's playing with a full deck? You know anybody? I don't know. So, I mean,
I love it.
There's a few bolts loose, you know, with everybody you know. So I think, I don't know. I just got a good feeling about it. I don't know how to put it. Everybody says that. I realize that. I just got a good feeling about it. If we bring the right ensemble of actors on board, and that's where I come in. I'm good at that and selection and all that kind of stuff. So they're going to read. They're going to self-tape. And man, I'm hoping that between me and the director, which that's up in the air with right now, it could be Andrew, it might not be. That's not the way that, you know, I've still got other people, other crew to get involved.
And then where can we see the progress of these films? I know you have a group on Facebook. Is there a website we should be looking, or just watching out for the Facebook group?
Right now, I mean, the only place that I really post updates is in the group right now.
So we got to join Sicoli Films, but you're very particular about who joins. I know that.
Yeah, I'm a little fussy. Well, I got some rules. Come on. I mean, it can't be a free-for-all. I don't want people with a screw loose in there.
I'm sure there's a few have slipped through the cracks.
No, I know. I mean, it's hard to, how do you weed out when everybody's inviting people? I'm up to almost 1,400 members in only 2 months, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I'm not really pushing that hard. I got a lot of, you know what it is? The other members are inviting.
Right.
they can invite for you.
You
But
didn't
in
even
the-
know you had some real mobsters in the group.
That's what I mean. I don't know everybody in the group. How do you know? I don't know all 1,400 people. It's impossible. You know, but the people that wind up in the movie getting casted, I'm going to know a lot about. You know, I'm going to make that my business to know, because I want this to be good. You know, we're unknowns for the most part. Yeah, I did some things, Law and Order. You know, I did some things that got me my SAG card in 90. I think I joined the union in 96. I think Andrew's been a member a lot longer than me, but that's still a long time even for me.
Why didn't you get Joe Pesci on?
Others talk about that, but I don't want to make no. I don't want to really. I don't want to even go there, because as close as him and my dad were and still are, I don't want to. I don't want to put that out there. You know,
I
because,
understand that. I get that.
I've
had famous friends too.
Well, I don't like to ask people for anything.
I know.
I'd like to do this on my own, to be honest with you.
And I respect that. I think that's great.
Right. And sure, a lot of people say, well, you know Pesci, you know this one. Why don't you get him to do a cameo? And Andrew hit the nail on the head. Well, if you get somebody like that, even if Joe said, yes, I'll do a cameo, just say for the sake of supposing he says yes. Andrew hit the nail on the head about the people would want to see more of him in it than just doing a cameo.
Right.
They might expect to see more of him. Correct?
Then they might feel duped.
Right. So maybe I won't even go that route. It might be there for me. There's other actors, less known than Joe, but that have great credits.
Right.
That have offered to come on board. One of them did The Sopranos for 3 years.
Well, I can't wait to see how this plays out. That's why I need. So you're open for new group members. That's how we can keep up with what you're doing. And do you guys have a Sicoli Films Instagram? Or you have
no, we didn't. We didn't go there yet. We're gonna do there.
We'll join your personal. And so I'm friends of you, Andrew. I'm not friends with you. We got to become friends.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you guys so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
No problem. It was a pleasure.
You're very welcome. I appreciate you having us on, and to Eddie and to Eddie's wife Joni, who is a great support to him and this film. I'd like to say thank you very much for being supportive and helping us move this along, hopefully to a good result very soon.
Welcome to the Sparkle Show. With us, we have Jim Thomas. I'm so excited to finally meet you. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's nice to be here.
So you've had the Martial Arts Hall of Fame. You've had this event. How long have you had this event for?
Well, it seems like 100 years, but since 1976.
So when you started it, was there nothing of its kind, and it was just let's start this?
There was no such thing as a Martial Arts Hall of Fame. Nothing. We were the very first one internationally. And back then, though, it was called the Karate Hall of Fame. And then when my instructor, Robert Trias, passed in 89, then 90, we skipped 90. Well, no, we kind of did 90. Very small, because the passing of my instructor, actually the creator of it. And after he passed away, then I took it over, and we, through my father and another gentleman named Mike Day, we reorganized things and called it the USA Martial Arts Hall of Fame instead of the Karate Hall of Fame. So we included all styles and all blends, and you know, there was so much out there that we wanted to include everyone.
Wow. So how did you get involved in everything? Because you studied martial arts forever. Then you said you had a PhD. Tell us a little bit about your life and how you led to that point.
Well, I've been a karate guy since 1960, and I was. That's back in the day when karate was taught as an adult male thing. No children were allowed in class, and definitely no women were allowed inside the school. And the children that were there, the only reason that I was allowed in was because my father was a teacher, and so, or one of the teachers. So I got to sit my little white butt down up against the side of the mirrors and had to sit there and watch along with a couple of other kids. And we got to watch. And then as we, if we didn't move around, get kicked out, eventually they put us into the judo program and then in the karate program. So since 1960, I've been active.
And so you've been competitive. You've done a lot of stuff. How did your career go? How did it lead to the decades of having this event?
I've always been a karate guy, but one thing that's very important to me that was always and has been very important to me was education. So I'm a Vietnam vet, so I used the VA benefits to actually. Then the purpose was to get paid to go to college. So the active duty paid me so much a month to pay my tuition and go to school, and then I joined the guards, and the guards gave me the same amount of money, which it was free and clear. But then my work paid for my college. So back in '76 or '77, I was getting an extra $1,500 a month for going to college. So I milked it basically. So I would switch. Would switch up. I went to engineering. And I ended up becoming a physical medicine doctor. So, a long story short, and I worked at the hospital. I retired from the hospital, and since then I've been just a full-time karate guy.
Wow, that's quite an active career. So, how has this event grown? You just started the first martial arts of its kind, and it's gone on year after year after year. And I'm sure you've had some amazing people in there. Tell us about how the event has survived decades and the kind of people that have come and been in the Martial Arts Hall of Fame.
Well, to receive an award and to have these things to put inside your school, some of the press releases and things that we do is pretty awesome. But more importantly, I think as time has went on and as everybody's gotten a little older, I think a lot of people go more so for the camaraderie or for, every year, even from last year in California when we did our event, there's been 5 or 6 people that I know of off the top of my head that have passed away. And so, we cherish these years as we get a little bit older, and we just keep that legacy alive. And I pondered on this for a while. A lot of people said, well, why don't you just skip this year? Because, the COVID thing. And we've never skipped a year. So even with 9/11 and the challenges that we've had in our world since '76, we've never skipped a year. So I said, well, this one will be a little smaller, but we're going to still do it. And we'll be back to full scale next year, 2021.
So you said it's going to be a little smaller than it has years before. Who makes the guest list then now? Everybody that's getting an award, or they get to be there?
Well, no. We're only allowed to have, I think, less than 150 people, where before we always had 350, 400 people or more. And we're only allowed so many people. So it was kind of a first come if you want. But let me backtrack, because, originally we did this event in May. And so now we've held it from May to October. So some of the people that wanted to come in May and signed up the end of last year or the beginning of the year might not be able to come now, or especially won't because of the COVID thing and being scared and so forth. So we're just going to make do with this year and still have fun. And my main thing is I get to see everybody. Some of the people that are from all over California, Arizona. We have them coming in from Michigan, Ohio, Florida, Georgia, all over.
Tell me about the people that you've met that have won awards, because from what you're saying back when you started martial arts and how it's grown now to where it's children, women, acting, now there's more events where there's more movies for it. What's it like seeing 40 years of 50 years of the sport grow?
Oh, it's awesome, man, because, I mean, I remember when we had Chuck Norris there, Bill Wallace, the list goes on and on. They've all, Cynthia Rothrock and the Don Wilsons and the Eric Lees, and, people at one time or other have been there, or if not, every year they still come in and attend, and they're like the eye candy, the stars, and they're the eye candy of the event. but really the true purpose of this is just, I mean, there's so many people out there that sell their souls basically to keep their school open. I mean, they work through 2 or 3 jobs. Some of them even pay out of their own pocket to keep their school open. And they have done this for years and decades. And so there's nobody to pat them on the back. But there's people to pat those on the back that are doing movies. But the unsung heroes, to me, and to a lot of people, are the ones that are out there making our industry what it is now. And that's people that teach and, they're involved in the martial arts day in and day out. And I love them all. I mean, I'm friends with everybody, so it's been an awesome journey for me.
So how long have you been in this? I bet you have a lot of injuries in your martial arts career. Tell us a little bit about how that's gone.
Well, it's always good. I enjoy the interviews. And as we have this little bit of a problem before. I'm very challenged when it comes to technology. I was telling you a minute ago, I did my college dissertation on a manual typewriter, so that kind of dates me. And so, even when I worked at the hospital, I had somebody to do all that stuff for me. I never really had to. I mean, if I worked at the hospital now, I would have to do it myself, and I'd have had to learn. But I escaped the times when technology wasn't that important. And I wish I would have, but I would learn a little bit more. But I've had that opportunity to meet some of the best people and be part of their lives as they are mine. It's just been a journey for me that I can't even imagine doing anything else in my world. I've always wanted to grow up to be a full-time karate guy, and I am.
But okay, what's amazing to me is like all that you have done, your career, your travel, and you live in a small population town in Ohio. Tell us about how the dynamic of that, how that kind of sets you apart.
Well, there's no place like home. I went to college in Seattle, Washington. I was up there for 8 years. I went to college here in Ohio, but then I went to Seattle and I finished school. And I traveled around, lived various places. I was in New Mexico for 5-6 years right prior to this. I've been here back here in Ohio for the last year and a half. But my area in Ohio, the Ohio, Indiana area, I used to compete quite a bit through here when I was on the U.S. national team. I got a chance to travel quite a bit and train different places. So I've been fortunate enough that I haven't been stuck in this little teeny town all my life and not been able to go out and do anything. So I'm lucky. I'm blessed.
That key that keeps you humble, being in such a small place. I mean, do you like it? Do you like kind of being away from everybody?
But I still get out enough that it satisfies my passion for people. But living here, I mean, there's no place like home. And sometimes as we get a little older, you'll hear kids say, I can't wait to leave this town and go to LA or leave this town and go to Hawaii or whatever. They always come back home.
That's true.
Not always, but a lot of times.
I actually did that, so I totally understand. But with your famous friends, has any of them come out and seen you in Ohio? Does Chuck Norris ever come and hobnob? Because he actually lives in the outskirts a little bit himself, right?
Yeah, he lives in Texas. Yeah.
Did you guys ever see each other? Do you guys see each other's films, or did you just reconnect at this annual event?
We out every now and then, and his wife Gina, and we're all friends on Facebook, and that's kind of about how you have to do it nowadays. But yeah, I'm involved in his water project and some of the stuff that he does, kick drugs out of America, and I remember the day when I would compete. Chuck Norris was a competitor as well before movies. And he was a good competitor. And then, of course, like everybody else, you get involved in film after film after film after film, and then his series, it kind of sways you away from some of the things that used to ground you. And so, he just didn't have time for everybody that used to be part of his past. And I understand, I get that. But I do get a chance to speak and talk to everybody. And so I'm lucky that way.
So being in this industry, when you saw people, did you know talent when you saw it? You're like, I bet that guy's going to be the next. Did you know Chuck Norris was going to become Chuck Norris? Did you see something in these people that you just knew they had that it factor to really make it in this industry?
Could I see it then? Oh, yeah. Of course, back then, the only thing that was involved, or the only thing that you would see on TV was Chinese kung fu flicks. So nobody really ever thought that a martial arts thing would really become popular. Bruce Lee did it, but still it's kind of a Chinese thing. And after when the Karate Kid hit, oh, man, my school doubled.
Is that what really spurred into it being more mainstream was Karate Kid?
Yeah. I mean, Bloodsport, Karate Kid, that just boosted everything. Boosted everything for everybody in America.
And all these people that you've met that have come through, are they really talented? Are they really, really good martial artists? Or does it just appear that way to us? Because, it was like these people do their own stunts, these people don't. Are some of these people just truly, truly talented and they're doing more than we can imagine?
Oh, yeah. Some of these martial artists, man, they're you would think that some of what's cool for me, some of these people are great martial artists and involved in films and so forth, but they're genuinely good people. I mean, as martial artists, we all are, but they're humble and they're down to earth, and that's what's really exciting for me.
And I've noticed that with the different ones I've met, because I don't know if I interviewed Don the Dragon Wilson a few weeks ago, and then Jeff.
Don's a good friend.
These are like all the people that you've known for a while, and then at what point did they come to you when they are going to win the award, and who decides who wins the award?
Well, you're nominated. The process, you've got to be nominated. So each person that's been inducted is allowed 6 nominations for the next year. So let's assume you're nominated this year and you accept your award, whatever. Now you're an alumni or alumnus. And then next year, it's up to you to reach out and look with, some of the other martial art talent that I might not know. And then you submit from 1 to 6 people, or maybe none. But you nominate these people, and that's how I keep it going. So I don't randomly get in the telephone book and send invitations out and just say anybody's welcome. And I think that's one of the reasons that the atmosphere in our event is just so wonderful, because everybody's, like you said, humble, but we're all excited about the martial arts, and nobody has a chip on their shoulder. Even like with Don, when Don was, he's done so many great things. Bill Wallace, Chuck Norris, and all of them, they've done so many great things. When you talk to them, man, they're just people, and that's what I love about it. Like I said, I've been very blessed. I knew Don back when he was fighting with the WKA and the PKA back in the 70s. So we were both PKA fighters. He was a pro and I was an amateur, but we're about the same age. I think Don's a little older, but Don's a great guy. Probably one of the most humble men you'll ever meet.
Is it part of the training? Is that why there's a lot of humbleness to it? Is that part of the martial arts training?
Absolutely. That's a virtue, being that way. That's the main message that I think that we all want to teach our children in our classes, not our own personal biological children, but the children that we have that we teach in our schools. To be humble and be proud, but still be humble and though, of course, a lot of the stars or whatever, they still have a tendency to be, I'm not going to say standoffish, but there's a little bit of stardom gets to their head, but that lasts for a little while. But they always come back down to earth. One guy that's never left the planet has been Don Wilson. He's probably one of the nicest guys ever. Yeah.
And it seems like a tight-knit community, and just because you said somebody will nominate somebody that you haven't heard of, and then that you stay close and connected, so you kind of are always hearing what's happening.
Right. And that's the beauty of it. Somebody will say, well, who nominated me? And I'll say, Joe Blow from Kokomo. And they'll say, who's that? I'm like, well, somebody knows you.
Oh, that's going to be a great delivery of news.
because it's martial arts, we attend seminars, or we go to competitions, or we write stories in magazines or whatever, and somebody reads that and follows you, and they say, hey, that would be a great person. I don't know. I get these calls all the time. Hey, Jim, is so-and-so in the Hall of Fame, in the USA Martial Arts Hall of Fame? I'm like, well, let me look. No, he should be. This is why. And then I send them the material, and then hopefully we have them.
So Jim, what was your specific training?
Originally I started under Robert Trias, who people that know who Robert Trias is, he was the first person to open up a karate school in America. And that was in 1946, 47, 46, I think. And that was in Phoenix, Arizona. He was the very first one. And my father, and Master Trias was a highway patrol. My father was a reserve police officer. So as a reserve police officer, he had a full-time job, and his full-time job was to work for Ma Bell. So when Master Trias opened up this school, and I think it was in the 50s, he decided to get a landline put into his school, a telephone, natural telephone inside of his school. And my dad was the one that hooked the phone up. So they got to talking, and they knew each other inadvertently because they were, cop world. And he said, Jim, you should come to class. And my dad ended up doing it. And, 6, 7 years later, then I came along, and my dad was a teacher. And then I got to go to class because my dad was a teacher. So, but I had to sit. I wasn't allowed to do anything until I got a little older, and I wouldn't disrupt anything.
So what's your exact
I've been
training? Because I people are like, oh, I've done 6 years of jiu-jitsu, I've done 5 years of this and that. What's your exact training that you've had?
I'm a Japanese / Okinawan martial arts style. Okinawan basically, which is called Shurei-ryu. Since then, I've also done Shotokan, and we've all done BJJ or jiu-jitsu, a lot of weapon training. I've always, as a martial artist, I think I owe it to my students to be adversely knowledgeable about other systems and styles. So in other words, I'm not teaching somebody just stuff that I learned. Because if somebody says, well, sir, my friend does Taekwondo and they do it this way. And we're in karate and we do it this way. Well, I can say, well, this is why we do it this way. Because I know about why the other systems and styles do it their way. And to learn what styles and what countries, what systems are from what countries. Like if a person wants to be a medical doctor, they have to learn Latin. They have to learn algebra. How in the hell is that going to help them fix somebody's or stitch somebody up or heal a bone? But to be well-rounded as a medical doctor is what they want you to be. Right. And as a martial artist, we owe that to our students and to our industry to know a little bit about everything, and to accept other people's ideas and their passions and learn from it.
So you think you've kept that this whole time? You've been really well-rounded, and it almost seems like you're continually learning and learning new things.
Oh, when we do these events, there's seminars. We always do seminars during the day. And I go to all of them that I can. I'm pretty busy during the day at the seminars. But I'll sit and I'll watch. These young guy, 30 years old, he's out there teaching. What's funny is because he'll start teaching, I'll be like, damn, back in 1982, I used to do that. I forgot all about doing that. It reminds me. It keeps me fresh, because nobody's too pure or too perfect to learn something from somebody. And so that's why the seminars are a big hit at our events.
Do you like the direction that everything's going in and like the new practices and the new stuff? Do you see everything going in a good direction?
No.
In what way?
The thing that the martial arts bullies, the people that say my style is better than yours and the other styles are shit. The other people that will, and teach this to their students. And fortunately, there's not very many of them. The keyboard warriors, there's not very many of them, but there are some. And so it seems like the world of martial arts, as I knew it when I was growing up, was a little different. It wasn't as watered down as it is now. um, 15 years ago when the UFC first started, most traditional karate schools, taekwondo schools closed because everybody wanted to do Brazilian jiu-jitsu. That was the thing. And so, that direction I seen then, I was like, holy crap, I hate to see this. But, people are now going back to the original roots, and the world of martial arts is just a great thing, and I'm proud to be part of it for as long as I have, and for the many, many, many more decades to come.
When you say watered down some of it, are there practices? I've heard of some different ones where it's like, oh, well, this is mixed martial arts with yoga, and this is like Tai Chi, and this is, sometimes you're like, that's not martial arts, that's really not karate, and they're just trying to say it is. Do you ever feel that way?
Well, kind of. One thing that we've all had to do in our schools was, like, in a lot of the schools that I'm in charge of, I still teach my traditional thing that I learned, and still practice. But I've developed other interests along the way, like BJJ and like Tai Chi, some soft stuff. I like that. And so inside my school, I like to have the cardio, the Taibo people, doing the women doing the Taibo classes. I love to see the BJJ people grappling on the mats. So in my school, I like to be well-rounded, and I like for everybody to be able to do a lot of things, which again, it goes back to that same verbiage of being a doctor, being well-rounded. As a martial arts instructor, we need to be well-rounded. We can't be one-sided. We can't be closed-minded, and we can't tell our students we're the best and everybody else sucks, because we all have good things to offer, and we have to portray that to our students to where they understand that they made the choice to come to you because of your attitude. It's not because of what you're really doing, because the students don't really know. And so that's why I think my schools are a success, because I'll flat out tell somebody, look, I'm not going to claim to be able to kick like I did 40 years ago or whatever, but I can still do a lot of stuff, and all that's immaterial. One of the reasons they come to me is because they know I'm not going to BS them around, and I'm going to guide them the right way, and I'm not going to downplay anybody else to upplay me. And that's one of the reasons why the Hall of Fame is like it is too, because none of us do that in there. Everybody's friends. And if you look on our website, there's 1,500 people since 1976 that have been inducted in the USA.
Wow, yeah, I was going to ask you how many people. So that's a lot of people.
But that's a course of almost 50 years too, and that's men and women. That's Tai Chi, Taekwondo, Tang Soo Do, Muay Thai, blah 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 blah. That's all styles. But if I were to say we were the same as we were back in 1976, the Karate Hall of Fame, no way would we have as many as we do now, in our alumni group. But we recognize all different styles and systems, so that's really not a lot when you think about how many different martial artists are out there. And there's different levels of inductions. So we have grandmasters that get awards, masters that get awards, basic instructors that get awards, just competitors, or people that do special projects for the children that are maybe have learning problems or ADD or ADHD. We all have these contributable things that make us all special. And so, with that in mind, keeping everybody all at a humble pace, we've been able to, I think the USA Martial Arts Hall of Fame has been able to survive because of that attitude.
Well, Jim, we're all going to go to the website to see what's going on and where. Typically, if somebody wanted to buy tickets to the event just to go, that's usually okay, and we can go buy them from the website.
I tell everybody that this year is kind of funny because we're only limited to so many people. Like this event in California, we're not allowed no more. We're sold out. But I would like for everybody, I appreciate your help with allowing me to be on your show. Next year will be a little different. I hope. We all do. But it'll set a precedent where next year, people kind of understand what we do and getting the website out. Dr. Kevin Hufford from New York is the one that does our website, by the way.
Okay.
And yeah, he's a literate guy. He does all of the grunt work.
Are we going to get to see excerpts from this year on the website, like some of the highlights of the show this weekend?
Yeah. I'll put them on the website, and I'll be doing live video feeds. Now we're friends on Facebook, so I'll do some live feeds, live videos. And,
Perfect.
Yeah.
Is there a newsletter too people can be on?
At the event especially, I'll do some live videos.
Okay. And is there a newsletter or something we get subscribed to? It's like our viewers right now, they're interested and fascinated and want to keep up. What should we do besides going on the website?
Yeah, I do have a newsletter. It's just been kind of this last 7 or 8 months for this COVID thing. Spending, $1,000 on postage and printing and stuff and sending stuff out when everything's so slow and schools are closed. I've not spent the finances to do that. So I depend on social media a lot. Here's an example. October of 2019, before 2020 came, there were listed 23,700 schools that had landlines in the USA, registered martial arts schools. By May and June of this year, 2020, and a little bit more in August, we went down to 13,200 schools that have landlines that are open. So we've lost 10,000 schools because at least 10,000, and that's not counting the YMCA operations or the boys club operations or the church group operations, because you simply weren't allowed to be open. And so schools couldn't afford to pay their rent, all the utilities, keep everything up, pay for it without being allowed to make a living. And so this has been an incredible hard time for everybody, and I bless everybody's hearts that's in the martial arts world. It's been really tough on everybody, but I see now with some of the events that we've got left rest of this year, I see a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. And I know 2021 will be a lot better for everybody. And I'm hoping and praying.
And if there's something we could do to help, is there like an arts page where we could support the arts?
Yeah, on our website, the social media things, and likewise, I want to help you with your show too, because your goal is to bring attention to your show. So now that we're connected, I want to do that, and I that's one of the other services that the USA Martial Arts Hall of Fame does and will do, is to, if somebody's got a project or an idea or a service or a suggestion,
you get it out there.
That's right.
And I think this is your Facebook page, is the official alliance page for the USA Martial Hall of Fame.
What's that? I'm sorry?
The official alliance page, USA Martial Arts Hall of Fame, is your Facebook page.
Yeah, the alliance is our governing body, but the USA Martial Arts Hall of Fame is there's 2 different areas that you click and you can go to and learn more.
Thanks, Joe. You're so fascinating. We could talk forever about all of your experiences. I want to end with, is there anybody that we should look out for? Like, who's the next big martial arts star that maybe we don't know yet?
Michael Jai White, man, he's on.
Really?
Michael Jai White. He's a great guy. Yeah. He's young enough that he's got a long career. I mean, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, but the Chuck Norrises and the Jackie, Chuck Norris is 81. I mean, 80. But the younger generation, the Michael Jai Whites and the Sparkle and the Jims and the KPs, and hey, we're the next ones, to carry out what the older generation has done. And my job and your job now is to the newer people that are interested in what we're doing, is to guide them along, because we're not going to be around forever either.
Well, you're definitely one of the great OGs, the mentors to us. I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Jim Thomas.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.